the computer thinking about things, isn't it?
Good morning and welcome to Talking Cafe today, Tuesday the 13th of April. My name's Jane Cousins and I'm a village agent working in the Taunton Deane area for the Community Council for Somerset. The subject this morning on Talking Cafe is pets. So if you're going to join us live, please can you post any questions in the comments box and we'll do our best to answer them at some point during the broadcast. I was supposed to be joined today by my colleague Sarah, another village agent, but at the moment she's having some trouble with her technology, so you just have to put up with me, I'm afraid. It's estimated that in the UK, approximately 51 million pets are owned, so I think this might be a popular subject today. There are many benefits to owning a pet. So, for example, if you have a dog, this helps to keep you fit, it stops you being lonely, and it can lower stress levels. So, for example, if I go out for a walk on my own, it's very rare that somebody will stop and speak to me. But if I take my dog, nearly everybody stops and has a chat. So, it can be a good way of making friends too. So our guest today is Catherine Tomlinson. Catherine is a pet trainer and behaviourist, and she's going to talk to us about her job and the implications of lockdown on dogs and puppies. So if I can hand over to you, Catherine, and welcome. Thank you for agreeing to come on and speak.
Oh, no, thank you for having me, Jane. I was really touched that you invited me on. Good morning, everybody. My name is Catherine, as Jane kindly introduced me. I'm a clinical animal behaviourist, and my job is to help owners understand their dog's behaviour. And I work with them to make sure that the owner is happy, and also that their dog is getting the best life that they could possibly have. But not only do I help owners that have got dogs with problems, I'm also a puppy school tutor, which is terribly exciting. And everybody says I've got the best job in the world, and I think they're right. Actually, I do have the best job in the world. And as a puppy school tutor, I host classes for people that have got new puppies, and I help them with socialisation and training. And even despite lockdown, when people have got a new puppy or they've got problems, I was there to support them, like many other clinical animal behaviourists. And we were working online to provide that help for people that were experiencing some difficulties. Or even now, I'm being inundated with calls and emails asking for help as the restrictions start to ease, and they're worried about what the implications might be to their pets. And there could be absolute whole host of reasons. They may be worried that they have had the last year at home, and what was once a puppy, now they're going into adolescence, and they're worried about how a puppy's going to cope on their own when they go back to work. Because the puppies never experienced that in their lifetime. So I'm here to support owners and work with them to try and help puppy cope better when those changes happen. But it could be all sorts of problems. Maybe they've got a puppy that was during lockdown, it was great for their lifestyle. But now they're suddenly realizing, oh, crikey, with the kids going back to school and going to work, that actually the breed that they've got may just not be matching the lifestyle that they're going to embark upon as those restrictions ease and they go out to work, etc. So lockdown, it's been, we've had a whole host of problems for people just struggling with their pets. But online has been an absolute godsend because I could still continue my work. I can even run puppy school classes online. It obviously wasn't the same as touching those little baby puppies and puppies getting to meet other puppies, but it was really good in that we could still get that early training so that once we can go back to face-to-face classes, we can work on more aspects of socialisation. but we've had to adapt in our jobs, and so there is a whole wealth of things like videos that are available to owners on YouTube channels as well for the organisations I belong to, and we can provide that support as we start to make those transitions. So yeah, that's what I've been doing in a nutshell over the last 12 months. It's been very exciting. Oh, hello.
Hello.
So yeah, lots of people have had different problems, but it's been challenging at times with adapting to remote live classes. People were a little bit at the first lockdown. People were a little bit, I'm not so sure about going online. But once they had like a free tech check, and they saw actually it was just a virtual class, and I was doing everything that I would do in a class. In fact, I was able to do more online in my puppy classes and my online behaviour consultations and training sessions than I could do when I was working face to face. And that was because of social distancing. We had to change a lot of things, how we were working when we got those brief windows of opportunities to have face-to-face classes. But the online classes were absolutely brilliant because we could cover a whole host of training exercise that would set that puppy up for a really good start in life. Plus, we're not just there to teach the syllabus for puppy school. We are the puppy experts at puppy school, and as clinical behaviourists as well. I could supply them with a lot of behaviour knowledge. So any additional little bits that I thought was appropriate at that time for socialisation was the key thing. People were very, very worried that their puppies weren't going to get contact with other dogs and other puppies, but also with people, because they couldn't get near them. And so they were worried that their puppies were going to go and become fearful in later stage of their life and what the implications for that would mean. And they didn't want that. And so people became really worried during the first lockdown, and also the ones that we've had recently. But it was carefully explaining that actually with socialisation, it's more about the quality rather than the quantity. And if we get, say, 5 really amazing experiences compared to 10 hit and miss where puppy was struggling, actually those 5 quality experiences would be much better for that puppy. But socialisation also is not just about meeting other puppies. It's about, in a way, coping with not having access to them as well, because I get a lot of phone calls saying, oh, I can't get my puppy back when and my dog back from other dogs, or they run up to people. So we have, it's both ends of the spectrum. There's not enough socialisation, but also what to do about helping puppy realise that sometimes they can't go up to every person, they can't go up to every dog. So, and we were on board during the last year online to help those owners understand the bigger picture, the wider picture, and what they can do at home, from dressing up and putting high-vis gear on and sunglasses, taking their little puppies and their dogs in the back of their car just to the local post office shop, so that they could see people, that they didn't need to directly interact with them to get good quality socialisation. So lots of people that came online, they benefited from that early training, and obviously we're embarking on the new stage of the lockdown restrictions easing, and so we're happy that we're starting to advertise our face-to-face classes at Puppy School, and also my junior courses, so that those puppies can continue their education that they started online, and we can get them into class, and they can show how good they've done over the last year, and they can get that extra bit of socialisation now, which is really, really good. So yeah, it's all been really good, really positive, because of how we've adapted. So we were lucky in that respect. And like I said, I belong to a massive family of clinical behaviourists and puppy school tutors. The organisation, the Association for Pet Behaviour Counsellors, has been fantastic. Again, online we've got so much information for owners that can help them if they are worried about how their pet is going to be affected. And we've got lists of qualified clinical behaviourists all over the UK to provide that support, either if people are still shielding online, or we can start to do face-to-face sessions in the future. But also Puppy School. Puppy School is a UK network of puppy experts. And again, many of us are behaviourists, and we are accredited by the Animal Behaviour Training Council, which is an umbrella making sure that people like myself have got the academic qualifications and the experience, the practical experience to help puppies that in their journey and their development throughout life, from puppy stage, adolescence, all the way through to their senior years as well. Whatever the problem, we can help with those things as well. So yeah.
That's really great. I've got a little message here in our comments box from one of our other village agents who said that she's got some new puppies joining her family members this week. So yeah, I think perhaps you could talk to us a little bit about what people should think about when they want to get a dog. There's all sorts of things, the expense, the insurance, food, bedding. It's quite a lot to take into consideration, isn't it? And as you mentioned earlier, I think getting a breed that's suitable for your lifestyle.
Oh yeah, completely. I do think that it's having a look at what you want from your family dog, and what's your situation. Are you working? Is this a breed that it likes company? And obviously all breeds, they've been domesticated, and so they do want human attention, but some breeds may be wanting it more so than others. Others require a lot of physical exercise, and so having a look at your lifestyle, your work commitments, your family commitments, and looking at what breed would be the best for you, and that's quite difficult. But again, people from like Puppy School, or the any of the qualified trainers under the Animal Behaviour Training Council can actually provide that support before you've even got a puppy, so they can answer any questions and help you choose the right dog for you and for your lifestyle. I think that's really important. And also that some puppies, some breeds, they may have tendencies like if they could have some medical conditions later in life. It's really important that we check out that, because obviously that's going to be veterinary expense as well, on top of the normal expenses that you have with vaccinations, quality diet, worming, flea treatment regularly. So there's it's quite a lot of expense and thought process that needs to go into a puppy, and it's asking people that have got the breed as well, and seeing if there's any forums out there and people that have owned them. It's absolutely, that information is really valuable. So I think that's the first step for sure. And then after that, it would be looking for that really amazing breeder, and trying to find. And again, for people like myself who work for Puppy School, we have this big network of Puppy School tutors. Some are breeders as well, but we know people that know people and that are really amazing breeders. Following things like puppy culture, early socialization, how we're rearing them, what's the mum, what's the dad like, can we go and interact with them, are they living in the house? And again, on our Puppy School website, we've actually got a little section that talks to us about good breeders. So if you're wanting to find out more about that, you can log on, and we've got some videos there to show the difference between some puppies that have been really well socialized from tiny age, and the things to look at about how they're approaching humans, how they approach children, what are they like with other animals, compared to a puppy that has been raised in a different manner, maybe not raised in the house, maybe raised outside, and not had much contact with people, children, other animals. And again, that's, you know, we need to look at that, especially if you're like myself, who's a mum, has children, has other animals, lives in the countryside. I want to make sure that my puppy has had the best start to life, and looking at all those things are really good. So that's they're really lovely videos actually on our puppy school website, and information that looks at the breeders. But like I said, we're on hand before you even get a puppy, so that you can ask us any questions if you're worried about, is this the right choice? Is it going to work out for me? Because it is a life commitment, and you're there with them 24/7, and it can get quite expensive. And so, you know, and with lockdown, we want to make sure it's the right choice for you, because there have been ramifications for people that have got puppies struggling to cope, and maybe they've been relinquished to shelters. So the rescue shelters are struggling as well. So we want to obviously make sure that it's the right decision for owners going into buying a puppy now. So those are my top 2 tips. Definitely choose the right breed for you, and choose a really good breeder as well, and talk to them, go and see the puppies, go and handle them, see how they're interacting, and have a look at the things on our puppy school website.
Do you find generally then that most dog breeders do actually rear the puppies in their home rather than keeping them in kennels?
Yeah, it's a mixture, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. And it's those kind of key questions, and going to see where they are being reared and looking at what's there with the puppies. So it's a colleague of ours, a puppy school, just recently posted pictures of her beautiful little puppies, and there they all are with ball pools and bits of toilet roll and crinkle paper, and these puppies are having a whale of a time. They're all in a puppy pen outside, so they are transferred outside, and you know there's the cat and the guinea pig running around, and it's so good that kind of socialization. Those puppies know no different, and they've experienced it. It's just like they've like bits of furniture. That's all that they've seen for the first time that they open their eyes and being out and exploring. They're used to those sounds and sights. So those puppies have had an absolutely amazing start to life, and they've got amples of toys, and for each and every one of them, so there's no competition, and they're enjoying all those things around them in the environment. So yeah, looking at what's around the puppy when you go and view them is really, really good, and how they're interacting with the people. And if you've got children as well, take children, see how the puppy's approaching the children is really good.
Yeah, I've got a mixed breed dog. She's still quite young, and she's a cockapoo cross. So she doesn't molt, which is quite a benefit, really, I find. But yeah, poor thing, she's had a home haircut recently.
Oh no.
Okay, it's not too bad, but I think now that the shops have reopened, I should be booking an appointment for her.
I know, yeah, that's quite good actually, isn't it? I know a lot of people that have been like that, and especially like with the temperature increasing as well, and then the hair may go in their eyes and they can't see, which can affect their behaviour as well. So I know a lot of people which have had to do their home cuts, and yeah, some are better than others.
Well, thanks very much, Catherine, for your information there. If there's any questions, I think we'll address them at the end of the broadcast. But we've got a second guest today, Jill Wright, who is joining us. Hello, Jill. Thank you for
Jill.
Jill is a micro provider, and she has a Labrador who's an assistance dog. And also, she's got an exciting new venture that she wants to tell us about. So thank you for coming on, Jill. And do you think you could start by telling us about your assistance dog?
Pepper. Had her for 9 years, nearly 10 years now, following a serious road accident. And she was trained to really give me back my independence. So she can fetch things, she can help me off the floor, she can go and get help, she can do the washing, she can shut the doors, put up the rubbish, and generally is really, really helpful. And the difference in having her and a person was that I felt I was in control. and I have my life back rather than being dependent on another person. And that made a tremendous difference to my mental health.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, do you want to think about her then?
Oh, no, no. And now
No.
I'm almost back to, well, I'm back to working. And because I work with people with dementia, mental health issues, anxiety, Pepper often is the key to building a relationship with people who really find it difficult to do in another way. She's
Mm.
just kind, patient, and all of them will talk to her where they won't talk to another human. And sometimes people with dementia have language for a dog that they don't seem to be able to access for humans. And it's a
Mm.
truly valuable link, and it's really precious commodity. And I don't think I could go to some of the people I go to without her and succeed.
How do you know very much about how the dogs are trained then? Is the training ongoing, or is it just something that happens when they're a puppy?
They all start off with basic training up to about 5, and then it becomes a bit more specific. And they, in most instances, the dog is provided for you, not all, but most, and they will try and match the personality of the dog to the person who needs them. So if you've got a really lazy dog and you've got someone who's got an office job, that's perfect, because the dog doesn't care if it doesn't get any exercise, he just wants to be with you. And some dogs, especially big bone dogs, don't need all the exercise that people believe, because actually their bones won't take it. They just need enough exercise. But what they do need is stimulation. And with a lazy dog, an office dog's fine. But if you live on a farm like we do, a dog that's a bit, overexcitable and lots of energy, it's a much better environment for them, because they will follow you whatever you do. And in fact, Pepper likes to follow the quad, and the tractor, and whatever else is going on, she wants to be there. So she probably gets a good number of miles a day that some dogs just don't need. So once they've matched your personality, you then go on a residential course, which is about 5 days to start with, some as long as 3 weeks, depending on how complex your needs are. And you then learn to work in society with your dog. So you go to specific shops. And Marks and Spencer's is a really good one. So we went to Marks and Spencer's out of hours, where we went up and down aisles and picking things off of shelves that she was instructed. So to tell her to fetch something, and she carries on looking along the row until you say, good girl, and then that's your lock on. So she will have whatever you tell her is good. But when you're training, the gaps between the aisles are quite close, and we knocked off more socks than we picked up. So she would turn around, and with her tail, and off would come 25 pairs of socks, which she's got to pick up. And she'd turn around back to you again, and she'd knock off the next row. So we spent a lot of putting things back, until eventually she got the idea that if she went in a straight line, she didn't have to do this again and again and again. But it does make them incredibly popular and well recognised in the community that they live. So it's important that you go to the places that you would. So the bank that I go to was upstairs. So we had, with the help of a trainer, to teach her that I could give her the paying in, and she could go to the bank on her own. And I can give her the things for the post office, and go to the post office on her own. But you have to get familiar with the people and train them with the people that you're going to be seeing. So that works really, really well. Occasionally you have dogs that fail because they have, and we have one that's a pet who failed his training because he couldn't go over Taunton Bridge. He would have taken you in the water with him, through the railings, you, wheelchair, everything. You would have all gone for a swim. And we couldn't train it out of him. It just was too strong. So he's just a pet, but he's a lovely pet. So they don't all succeed, even if they're clever. Sometimes there's just something that makes them not suitable to be trustworthy as an assistance dog, but they still make a fantastic pat dog, communication dog, visiting dog. So there are other avenues for their skills.
And what happens at the end of their working life then? So you get the opportunity to keep that dog as a pet?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You can keep your dog and have a second dog. But we, in our experience, found that is not successful mostly, because every single day I go out of the door, the dog comes with me. She's never, ever left. So if you then suddenly have another dog, and because she is taken out of work, she cannot go to the shops with you, She thinks she's done something wrong. You've left her behind. Why not me? What have I done? Taken the other dog. What about me? And the last dog we had actually became quite anxious and destructive. He tore up the carpets. He was beside himself with anxiety because he couldn't understand what he'd done that meant he couldn't go. So this time we've been weaning her into staying with my daughter for a bit. So at the end of her working life, that's what should happen, that she will go to a family member. And that's mostly what happens to most of them. There is an adoption program that runs for ex-working dogs where you have to buy the dog, you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But you still have to follow all the rules. So you have to stay within your parameters of weight, your regular vet checks, all the things that they stipulate you must do, you must follow still, or they will take the dog back. And actually, it's a really great scheme. It means you can be absolutely certain that your dog is going to get a really good home. And quite often it's the puppy walkers that want them back because they know them. And often people will leave their dog with what was their puppy walker or their trainer when they go on holiday. And I've never done that. I've always taken my dog with me because you can take your dog everywhere. Occasionally you hit a hiccup and somebody won't have a dog, but then we won't go there. That's something I would avoid, because if you don't welcome an assistance dog or a guide dog, then actually it's probably not a suitable place for me.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's really interesting. And can you talk to us now a little bit about your new venture, your ideas about pet care?
Right. Well, because of my job at the moment, I often come across people who go into hospital, and it happened over this weekend for us. And the client has gone into hospital and there's a pet left behind. This weekend it was a cat, and the district nursing staff just left a message. I don't know who they thought they were writing to, saying cat fed for today, left at 8 p.m. on whatever the date was. Well, that's not really all that helpful. It's all right for that night, but if that person doesn't have family, and this lady didn't, that cat would have just been left. It's only because I went looking for her that we picked her up and I brought her home. But I would like to set up a centre whereby it's a cattery, come kennels, come animal resource centre, where these animals can go free of charge, and perhaps run alongside an ordinary cattery and kennels that turns a profit, but that profit pays for those who are in need. So if you have someone who's got a budgie or a hamster or whatever, they're going to hospital, that animal is guaranteed somewhere to stay. And it needs to be recorded on particularly things like the Hyperline, who to contact where there's a pet involved, so that we know where to go, what we've got to do, and the person doesn't have to worry. And long term, we'd like it to be some sort of residential centre, whereby if they really can't have their pet back, the pet stays, and there are opportunities for afternoon tea groups where they can come and have a cat on their lap, walk a dog around the gardens, clean up birds, and have an interaction with an animal, which for so many people is their reason for getting out of bed. It's their reason for being functional in a proper routine way, and routine is so important to all of us. It's something that is lacking and we don't have available. Quite often, anyone who's going to hospital for more than 6 weeks, their pet gets rehomed or put to sleep, and that is such a shame and so avoidable.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think as a pet owner myself, you want what's best for your pet, don't you? And I think at the time of, if you are being admitted to hospital, trying to organise everything at the last minute. So it is always best to have a little bit of a plan in place to, what would happen if you couldn't look after it, or you had to go to hospital for a short or a long period. Is there someone out there that you trust to have it, or is there an organisation or a charity that will do as you were just suggesting, take care of it in the short term? If not, it's long term that you have it as more of as a residential. It sounds an absolutely brilliant idea.
It has an opportunity to expand into something much larger, in being a resource for meetings and coffees and enclosed walking areas for those who are frail on their feet but still want to do it and can be
Yeah.
supervised without you really overpowering them.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Catherine touched on it a little bit earlier about, people choosing the right dog for them. And, there are people out there that actually want a dog but feel that they can't. And something like that, an interaction with someone that would really like to have a dog, to be able to have an afternoon tea with interactions with animals, whatever animal it is, not just dogs, I think would be very beneficial to a lot of people out there that, because it makes them feel a lot better, doesn't it?
I'm
It gives
sure it does, yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
Very good for mental health. I think it's
Yeah.
very much, at the moment, it's structured around a number of us that are willing to keep them in our own homes, which we are. But at some point, I'd like to extend it into perhaps raising money through some means to buy a bit of land and put up a building and have it run properly, so that it's a definitive place where everybody knows where it is, and then it becomes a radar on the radar of you as village agents, the district nursing staff, the pipeline particularly, because they are the ones who often are the first people to go and make a decision. And elderly people who are getting to the stage where they need some support, so that care agencies know we exist. And it could become quite a successful long-term venture, but it will need some significant financial input at some point to make it grow into something that is recognisable to the community as a fixed point.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've got some exciting times ahead.
I think I don't think it's a quick fix, but I think it'll happen. It will just take time.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Okay, I've got somebody posted a question here, Jill, just asking about the assistant dogs and how old that dog would be when it retires.
Usually between 9 and 12. The average age is 10, but it very much depends on the health and fitness of your dog and of yourself. Sometimes dogs that are given to you when you are 30, by the time you're 40, don't meet your needs, especially if you have something like motor neurone disease or Parkinson's. You might start off with perhaps a little collie that does everything you want, but by the time you've gone 5 years down the line, you need a bigger dog who can get underneath you and help you to get up. So you might find that your needs change, and so your dog will need to change, and there is scope for that to happen. But they will not put an older dog into a heavy working situation. So if you've got somebody who's always falling over because they've got cerebral palsy, they will try and keep you a dog that's under 10 years old, always. And it would usually be a larger dog, an Alsatian, a collie, a boxer, something along those crossbreed lines, so that they have the body structure to be able to do what you want. Because you can't ask a little dog to wriggle under somebody who's large.
Okay, thank you. That's really interesting, and good luck with that. Sounds, an amazing idea. Definitely something that's needed in the community.
Yeah. If anybody ever wants to get in contact with me, or they've got a problem, or they know someone else who has, they just need to either go through yourselves, or they can come direct to me. They can find me on the Mike Provider list, and they can find me through the council. And I'm willing to help anybody if I can.
I'll just show our number here. Okay, if anyone wants to get in touch with us, it's 01823 331 222. Okay, that's okay. Thank you. So, Catherine, a couple of questions about dog behaviour. We have somebody who has got a couple of terriers who said that when they take their terriers out for a walk, they love to chase any small animals that they see. And she worries that one day they'll just run off and not come back. So what's the best way to deal with that sort of behaviour?
Okay, so I'm a firm believer in toy play, because toy play can channel inherent characteristics into an appropriate activity. So if you take like the terriers, for example, who want to go and chase something, and obviously we're going, you can't chase those, and we need to fill the void. So they want to do that because of their innate tendencies, but we need to say to that puppy, actually, don't chase this instead. And so spending the time getting our puppies and our older dogs and channeling that instinct onto appropriate games with toys, and the toys and the games that they really like to play. So doing lots of experiments with different games is really, really worth its weight in gold. So obviously when you're going out and about, and at the moment, because of we're needing to keep dogs on leads, up on the hills and under close control because of like things, the breeding season, nesting birds, we need to keep our puppies and dogs on a long line that have got chasing tendencies, and we need to work on things like a really good recall, and recall taught as a reflex, not just a I'm going to say come, and the dog thinks, should I come? Or do you know what? This is much better. And we need to teach that recall to the point where actually they will come and go, oh, I hear that word. I'm coming now, because it equals the best thing in life. And that's something that I do as a qualified instructor, and teach those dogs to almost in that split second when you think, oh no, they're going to do it now, and we can predict that they're going to do it, we go, come. And they go, oh, yes, it's the best thing ever. And they turn around and come on a hairpin, and they come back to you because they love the word, and it is worth their weight in gold. And I educate owners on how we can achieve that, and they work with their dogs. So in terms of the terrier, for just to summarise, recall. But the most important thing is channeling that inherent characteristics into play to fill that void. And it's no different from for whether it's chasing birds or wants to go up to dogs, people. We need to think like we need to fill the void. If we say, no, you can't do that, you can't go up to them, then that dog's going to go, I want to, and get quite frustrated. We need to go, actually, don't do that. Do this instead. And then they can come and go, yeah, all right, that's worth it, and I'll do this instead. So it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, and we work at a low intensity to begin with, and you can simulate things like that at home, and getting the other owner, the children, to just waggle something along the floor and have your terrier on a lead, and they see it and they'll go, oh, and then you go, come. And the dog turns around, and you have a really good time playing a better game. They can chase that, they can grab hold of it, they can rag it. So we're filling that void with something better. And then over time and consistency, what happens is the terrier goes, actually, I can get the hits from doing the game with my owner rather than pursue something else. So long lines, toy games, perfect recall.
Yeah, somebody else has asked me about their dog chews the mail and likes to chew up boxes or any parcels that come. So I suppose is that the same? You would use distraction tactics?
Give them something else to enjoy popping their mouths on. If it's a young dog and they explore with their mouths, and so we need to give them really good things that are acceptable to chew on. So rather than furniture and the post and things like that. And obviously we can manage the situation by having a box by the front door or one of the special letter boxes that collects them, so that they're not self-rewarding by doing it when you're not available to quickly get the postman and get the letters. So management with that one, but teaching them what they can chew on. And it's the same with puppies that are mouthing as well. It's all part of exploration and play. So the majority is part of exploration and play. There are other reasons why they might be mouthing, such as they may be overtired, overstimulated, their teeth are sore, they might be frustrated about something if we've got hold of them. But what we do is we just go, let's do lots of toy games, lots of play. If we're not playing with them directly, let's give them lots of things to chew on. So nice, meaty, natural chews that are appropriate for the size and the age of the puppy and the dog, so that they learn, this is what I exercise my jaw on, and this is not what I exercise my jaw on. So that helps with a whole host of chewing and mouthing related behaviours.
We have a slightly different tactic to yours, in that when our dogs, when they're training, they pick up the post or they pick up something that you don't want them to have, we go, oh, brilliant sock, thank you. And you're so excited in your voice that they come to you, and then you take it off and thank them, and you can reward them then. And that then teaches them not only the name of the item, but that it's good to give it to you rather than rip it up.
It's a really good thing. So you can have the two-pronged approach. So what I was saying is about, mine was more about the prevention from them getting it or mouthing in the first place. But if they do, then what Jill was saying, and never to kind of quickly take it off them, be more exciting and positive and going, oh my gosh, you've done the best thing in the world, thank you very much. And reward them for that, and use an exchange, thinking about what would be better. For the puppy, is it a better toy that you exchange that item that they've got, or is it a little bit of food that you can get that drop from the puppy? Never to chase them, encourage them forward, and really praise them. So you've got that two-pronged approach: prevention, and then what to do if they grab hold of it. It's great, Jill.
Yeah, we never get there quick enough, so we.
No.
I've been looking at some training aids for my puppy. I haven't used any. I don't really know how to use it, but I've seen them clickers advertised and whistles for dogs. So how does that work? Is that just a case of like using the clicker or the whistle and then rewarding when the dog does what you ask it to do?
That's what we do. We use the clicker all the time in initial training. Every time the dog does something you want, if you click and reward, and then you'll get to a stage where you click and you sometimes reward and sometimes you don't. So they will still do it because there's always a chance you might get something. And if you still reward occasionally, the clicker will always work, because it's they learn that doing that action gets the click, and the click is a good thing because sometimes there's something good behind it. And that really works well. We find that with almost everything. And the
whistle, I suppose, does that work in the same way?
It's just a different
method.
Yeah, and it's just an alternative to your voice. So instead of saying come, you do do on your whistle. And you can use the whistle for different commands as well. So, and people use it in different ways. Whistle, they do the action, then you reward them for the action.
The advantage of using your voice, you're going wow instead of is you never lose it. It doesn't fall out your pocket. So we have two really important things. One is you're really excited, you've got brilliant noise, and the other one is your stop right now voice, which is or something similar for you, but the dog knows exactly what you mean, because if your voice says I'm not pleased and you only ever use it when they do something wrong, then they sort of take a step back. A bit like a child that it's a bit sharp word there, must have done something wrong. And your voice is really your best tool.
I'm not about that. When I try to use my stone voice, my dog just looks at me and wags her tail.
It's obviously not a very stern voice.
I need to work on that.
Yeah, a bit of work needed.
Yeah. So the other thing that I was looking at, that I've heard of recently, is an activity monitor for dogs.
Yeah.
Activity monitor is great if you're really into your technology. You really must, because for you need to measure it. But actually, if you get good exercise yourself and your dog, I wouldn't worry about that.
No. I was looking at a pit where you can get a little monitor to put on the dog's collar, and then you can. It's just like having a Fitbit, I guess, isn't it? When it's how many steps the dog.
Might be good if you're 80 and you want to get so many steps.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a challenge for your dog because you're not walking enough.
This is what happened with me. I had one for my dogs, and I was teaching away in Gloucester, and as part of puppy school, and I asked my husband, I said, how are the boys? How was your weekend? Did you do some nice walking? And he said to me, yeah, absolutely. And because the data comes on my phone, I could see exactly how much exercise was on that. And I went, I don't think we've got off the settee this weekend, have we? And I caught him out really good with the pit pat.
That's on your husband.
I know, well, this is it. Now we've actually got a dog cam. So I installed a little doggy cam in my kitchen to make sure that my dogs were all right. And we got one when the boys were quite young. So I could see when I was out at behaviour consultations, I could actually see how they were, and it was part of separation training, and I installed it, and now I can kind of like, it's really bad, it's like personal privacy invasion, but I can be like just setting off from a client's house, and I'll just tap onto it on my phone and have a look at what they're doing, and then my husband and my children are there all with their feet up, and I'll go, no, go on the dogs, for goodness sake. So yeah, it's brilliant for watching them. It can become addictive when you're watching the dogs and going, what are they doing now? What are you up to? But brilliant for like separation training.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all the questions that I have. Sarah, have you got any questions for Jill?
I don't think so. I think sort of covered it. Really interesting, I found this morning. You know, I am a dog owner. You know, it's good to hear, you know, about the good breeding and all the good information out there, because I think through lockdown there has been such a lot with dogs at the moment, isn't there, with, you know, everything sort of going on, from, you know, charging astronomical monies for a dog to unfortunately the ones that have been stolen as part of all of that. So it's really good to hear that, you know, there are some really good tips out there to help people to get a dog, you know, for the future, and guides to match their lifestyle to the dog. And, you know, and from, you know, Jill, it's lovely to hear, you know, that her dog has changed her life by, you know, being a great support to her, and with her new adventure sort of coming on, which could be real beneficial to a lot of people in the future, really. So I really enjoyed this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you, ladies, for coming on and giving up your time. It's been really lovely.
Thanks for having us. It's been lovely to meet you all.
You
too.
There's no more questions in the chat box, so I think we could leave that there now. So thank you, Catherine and Jill, for coming on. Thank you for your contribution. It's been great. Talking Cafe is back tomorrow at 11 a.m. when we've got our community agent, Melanie Kelly, and she's going to be talking about story massage. So that should be quite an interesting one, quite different from our topic today. So thank you very much. And you've got the number there for GCS. If anybody's got any questions about today, just get in touch and we can answer them retrospectively for you. Okay, thanks, ladies, and thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, there you go.
Well,